Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be installing the T6 coilover kit by MaXpeedingRods on a Tesla Model Y. But what we're going to do is install just the rear today, and then in a future video we're going to install the front. If you remember, in a previous video we did an unboxing of the T6 coilover kit, and finally going to get it installed. So the one thing to keep in mind is make sure you grab all the tools that you need and get organized in that manner, because that's honestly what takes the longest, is searching for all the little tools that you will require to do this installation. So, but with that, what we're going to go ahead and do is get the car on a jack and go ahead and get started. So here's a pro tip, guys. If your floor jack is a little too high, and you run into an interference with your little jack puck down there, put a piece of 2x underneath your wheel, or place one underneath and drive over it, so that way you're creating another little bit more clearance for that jack to sit underneath that puck. Okay, so underneath the vehicle, what we need to remove first is this spring seat cover here. And then right about there, there's a 10mm socket that we need to remove, and then this cover will come out. After we remove the spring seat cover, we're going to go up here into the underneath this panel here, and then right under there, there are two bolts right there. That's about 15mm. That holds the shock in place. So we're going to remove both those. After we remove the two bolts at the shock, we're going to remove these two larger ones right here with a 13/16 socket. So there's the bolt right there with the two nuts on the other side. Okay, after we loosened the two bolts that were up here on the top part of the shock, we're now going to remove the two larger lower bolts down here. And we're going to use a 13/16 socket along with a 13/16 wrench. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't want to go ahead and pull out those bolts immediately after you loosen them. One thing that we're going to do is support this lower section here with a jack. That way, all the stuff doesn't all of a sudden just drop down. So we have the bottom section here supported, and I'm using a bottle jack here. It's probably best to use a floor jack, but I'm utilizing the floor jack right now. So this is kind of what I've come up with, using a couple of 2x just to give it a flatter surface up against the bottom of this section down here, and then using another 2x at the floor here to give it a little bit more height. So, but now what we're going to do is go ahead and pull out these two bolts and nuts, so that way we could remove the existing shock followed by the spring. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and remove this spring. And all you're going to do is actually just push down on this lower section here. That way you can easily grab onto the spring. So just going to lower it as much as possible, and then we're going to grab the spring and pull it straight up and out. So we have the existing spring next to the new MaXpeedingRod spring, and I've already preset the height of the spring perch. So you can see they're almost the same height, just slightly different. I think this should be able to lower the vehicle about 1/2 inch. And I'm not trying to slam the vehicle, so I'm just trying to get it a nice, comfortable ride, to be honest with you. As you can see here on the top of the existing spring, there's this isolator here that's sitting at the top of the spring that we're actually not going to reuse, but we are going to reuse a rubber isolator off the existing spring and just transfer it over. So we're going to do that real quick and then go ahead and set the new spring in place. One thing you'll notice when you'll set the new spring with the rubber isolator is that these two little things sticking out here, and there's holes along that bottom section there that it lines up with. So you really can't get this wrong. And when you're putting the rubber isolator in, it really only goes one way. So it's pretty easy to figure out. Okay, we have the new spring set. So now we're going to go ahead and drop in the new spring perch. So again, just push down on this lower section to be able to put the spring perch in place. And it really just drops into place. And that's really it. So here we have the existing shock sitting right next to the new MaXpeedingRods shock. And as you can see here, the new shock does not have the top mount. So we have to actually reuse that. So we're going to have to transfer that over. But in order to do that, you actually need a through socket to be able to do this. So, and I'll show you why. So at the top, there's this rubber boot that you have to remove, but you see this little socket in there with a Allen screw. So in order to be able to do that, you actually need, again, that through socket set along with a 5mm Allen wrench. It's really odd. See, now you have that through socket with the 5mm Allen wrench right through there. That way the whole thing just doesn't spin in place, and you can actually undo that nut that's in there to remove the top mount. So I got that top mount swapped over. So now all we're going to do is put the new shock in place, tighten the two bolts, and you want to make sure you tighten those two bolts to spec. And then we're going to feed one of the bolts through that lower section here again, but then tighten everything at the end once we get everything set. Okay, so you definitely want to use a jack of some kind to be able to lift this bottom section up so the holes align for you to be able to feed that bolt right through there. So if you try to do it without a jack, forget it. It's not worth the fight, but it makes it's life-changing when you're actually using a jack to help lift that section and line up those holes. So now all we're going to do is tighten everything down. We're going to tighten these two bolts here to 85 foot-pounds. And then we're going to tighten those two bolts up there for the top mount of the shock at 35 foot-pounds. So again, 85 foot-pounds for these two down here and 35 up there. All right, everything's torqued out in the spec. So all we're going to do is just remove our jack here, and then of course put that spring cover back on and lower the vehicle, and that should be it. There you go, guys. It's all installed. Again, this is just the rear installation. So we're going to do the front in the next video, but that's what it looks like installed in the rear. So at the very top right there is your adjustment knob to give you how soft or how stiff you want that ride. Of course, back here is your adjustment for your height. So whether you want to lower or higher or raise the vehicle. So again, I'll have it set probably dropped around 1/4 to 1/2 inch. So not too much, but again, I wasn't looking to slam the vehicle. So really was trying to stay close to stock as possible. Just really wanted to soften the ride some. But anyways, that's where you would raise and lower the vehicle. And the kit does come with a couple of spanner wrenches to be able to do that. There it is, guys. What do you think? Done. Rear is done. So just to give you perspective, so what the front looks like. So it's actually sitting at 30 inches to the bottom of the fender, and then it has settled down now to about almost 1/2 inch. And so we're at 29.5 inches. So what do you guys think? I did do the driver's side first, and this one definitely has settled down to right at 29.5. So that's kind of what it looks like so far. Now the front still needs to be done, but the rear, we'll see how it is. I'll drive it around for a little while. Obviously it's not that significant of a drop, but really want to fine tune it for the overall ride, and then I'll adjust the shock. I think I put it at 2 clicks, so we'll see how that is. So I'll put a link down in the description below for MaXpeedingRods on this T6 coilover kit for a Tesla Model Y. They have one for a Tesla Model 3 as well. So check it out for yourself, and there's a coupon code. Make sure you add that code in to get that discount. But that's it for this video, guys. An installation of the rear. We're gonna do the front in the next video. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.